So I had a little time, and I all of a sudden I noticed that the temperature outside in Norway, from the weather station that we got, the temperature is on minus. If I look at this one, it's minus 159, and I know that it's cold in Norway, but it's definitely not that cold. So I think there's something wrong with our data. So if I go back to Gjøvik, Norway, the data that I got from the weather station in Norway, statistical data, and I edit the query, we can go back to the applied steps and see if something went wrong. So if I go back to the source, I can see that, for instance, if I look at this, this is the date. It's the 5th of December. So if I scroll all the way down to the 5th of December, down, 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 and that's the 5th of December, you can see that the temperature is around minus 17, minus 18, minus 18, minus. There's a lot of minus degrees, but it is not definitely not minus 160 in average, roughly 159. So something went wrong there. But what I also noticed is that the data that comes in here, it's ABC. If you look at the icon there, that means this is data is coming in. It's coming in as a string. So that's how the data comes in. But if I go further down, it changes some of the names. Instead of being called columns, it's been called name, station, air temperature, and etc. And the next step is that the data structure or data type, sorry, has been changed from a string to a whole number. So it has been changed from text to a whole number. And you could say that by doing so, um, it has also neglected it has also neglected the decimal number, because it went from 1.7 to 17. So if I go back to this one, it has the first one was 1.17, but it has changed to 1.7. So it's 117 from 1.7. And if I go back to the date that we were investigating, the 5th of December, I can see that now that the minus temperature is now minus 179, minus 18. There's a lot of different, temperatures. So there's something wrong with our data there. So first of all, um, what I would like to do here is it has something to do with how we understand data. In some countries or somewhere in the world, the dot is dividing the decimal number, and somewhere in some other countries it's a comma. So I need to change this into a comma instead of a dot. So let's do that. And one way of doing that, it's here in the home tab, but I need to be at the right position. And I think I will put it here after the names has been changed, or it could also be from the source. We'll just change it from the source. So now I would like to do the second step, because this is the first, and it is the first row in the columns. There's the name of them actually included, so I'll just do like that. So what I will be doing by using this tool called replace values is that for each value, there's a loop where for each value going down here, I will search for the comma, not dot, and then I will change it with a comma. So first of all, I just pick this one and I replace it, and it says something about that there are initial other steps after this. If I'm sure that I would like to insert a new step in between, and it could basically ruin all the steps afterwards. So that's why you need to be just this kind of warning comes in here. But for us, it's fine. So I would like to search for all the dots in this, for all these rows. I was in this column. I would search for all the dots, and I will replace it with a comma. And I'll just press OK. So you can now see that it's not 1.7, it's 1 comma 7. And what we can see now, that is that, so far it's so good. But if I go here, now it's not 17, it's 2. And that's because the next problem is that it changed it to a whole number. And I need to change it to a decimal number. And now the Power Query is asking if I'm sure about this and would I like to change it. I'll say yes. And now it asks if I would like to add it as a new step or replace the current. And I don't need to change it to a decimal number and then to a whole number because I don't want to use a whole number. So I'll just replace the current one. All right. So now we can see that the number has been changed properly. So first off, this is replacing. It works for strings, so it needs to be a string. And then I replace it, the dot, with a comma. And now I changed the data type from a string to a decimal number. And then we do the same steps as we did before, like copying the time and changing the data to a date and not the time of the day. So now everything is good, and I press close and apply. And let's see what happens. And I will apply changes. And now we can see that the outer temperature, the average temperature for each day, it's not minus 150 anymore. It's more like minus 17, or let's just see this one. It's minus 17, the average temperature. So that's looks more realistic for me. And when we go past the winter, so basically this is from November to December, it's pretty cold in Norway, the average outside temperature. And here we have getting closer and closer to the summertime. We can see the temperature is actually getting closer and closer to the outside. Sorry, to summer temperature. But in Norway, roughly average temperature during the day would be 19. Yeah, and also because now we have zoomed out, so to say, zoomed in, sorry, so we can actually see that the difference between the average temperature for that day and what is the maximum and the minimum, we could kind of see what is the, for instance, on specifically this day, I mean, the average temperature is 24.8, but we have a maximum temperature of 27, and the minimum temperature of 23. But what we also could see is that no matter how cold it is, and if it drops drastically, it's not really going to change. Especially here, you can see that the temperature is really going from minus 20 to 0 in a really short time, a period of 3 days, and it doesn't really affect the indoor climates. So basically, so far we could say that the indoor temperature is not being controlled, or is not being it doesn't really affect that the temperature is dropping really low or going high. It doesn't really affect the heating system of this building. And then when we come to a little bit warmer, we can see that something's happening, but it's still within a pretty decent temperature. Yeah. So the next step for us will be to get this temperature to this area, and we could do that. We could definitely do that. But the problem with this one is that it's time per hour. So if I go to the temperature again and I say the air temperature, and I say we would also like the air temperature there, and we will say that it should be a average, you can see that again there's some problems, and the reason is because whereas this one was a whereas this one is depending on the date, so it's the year, the date, like if it's January the 1st, January 2nd. So that, to come back to it, I'll just show you. So it's the year, the month, and the day. And this one is only if, depending on it's only depending on the sorry, the time of the hour. And so far, there's no connection between time of the hour for the temperature from the thing, from the inside indoor environment, and the temperature from the outside. So we need to um, we need to fix that. See, so that will be for the next video.